Well, hello, folks. It is Thursday, December the 3rd. And since it's Thursday, that means it's time for Thursday's Thoughts. And so, welcome then to Thursday's Thoughts on this Thursday. Hard to believe that we are in December. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I wasn't able to be with you last week for Thursday's Thoughts, but hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Although it was different this year because of COVID for a lot of us, it was cut down, not as many folks as normal. But at any rate, I hope you had a really good Thanksgiving and great weekend after. Um, and I just wanted to take just a minute today to share with you what was on my mind and hopefully be an encouragement to you. It is Christmas, the Christmas season. We're getting decorations up, and people are spending a lot of money online and doing a little bit of shopping out in and about. There's still a lot of folks that are doing it that way as well, but it is the Christmas season. And I was thinking about the way God works and how we never know what the smallest, seemingly insignificant thing might be a part of what God is doing. We never know how the little things can be so very important in God's timing, in God's plan. As we go through our day, as we go through our lives, there are just things that sometimes we just dismiss as very small and insignificant when they might be very important. They might have significance in our lives. It makes me think of the passage out of the messianic prophecy of Micah in chapter 5, the second verse of that book of prophecy that Micah prophesied. He says, "But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from old, from ancient times." Bethlehem, very small in Israel, one of the smallest towns, insignificant in the minds of most people. And on that night, when Jesus was born in this small little insignificant town in Israel, in a stinky little stable, because the hotels were full because of the census that was going on, a teenage girl gave birth to the Son of God. And most people were too busy. Most people never considered little, tiny, insignificant, out in the middle of nowhere Bethlehem to be important. But that's where God chose to change all of creation. And so as you go through your day, as you go through this season of Christmas, as we move closer to that day where we celebrate that birth in a stable, I want you to think about how it's the little things that God uses for great things. You know, you may not feel like you've got a lot of influence. You may not feel like you touch a lot of folks in the world on a daily basis, but God can use you in huge ways, ways that we never imagined. Just like Micah tells us about Bethlehem, though you're small, but out of you is going to come a ruler that's going to lead all of Israel. And he did. Not only ruler over all of Israel, ruler over all the world, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And so, although you may feel insignificant at times, God, in His sovereignty, can use you for some really big, big things, even when you don't realize it. I think about those people throughout history who, although their contribution was very small, led to gigantic, gigantic things in history. If you've never read Andy Andrews' book, The Traveler's Gift, or any of his books, that book, and I'm trying to remember what the follow-up book to The Traveler's Gift was called. But anyway, they focus on that, on the things that seemingly are insignificant, and yet, had they not happened, the world would be vastly different. Um, the person who was teaching that Sunday school class of young boys where a young Billy Graham received Christ, had he not taught that Sunday school class, what might have happened? We think about all those types of things throughout creation. Those people who did things that at the time seemed very insignificant, but in the big scheme of things were huge. You don't know, but what somewhere in your legacy of your faith, as you have tried to live your faith in this world as a Christian, who you have touched that could make huge impacts on the world for the kingdom of God. So I want this Christmas to remind you of that when you sing that song, "O Little Town of Bethlehem." It was a very small, out of the way place, but that's where David had to go, or Joseph had to go, because he was of the line of David. And so that was significant because that's where David was from. And so Joseph had to take Mary to Bethlehem to be counted. And when they got there, because it was such a small town, those who had returned there to be counted for the census had taken all the room in the inns, and we know the story that they ended up in a stable with animals, and Jesus was born in that poverty, in that insignificant place. And yet we know the difference he has made in history of the world, in our lives. The fact that he gives us the opportunity to have that relationship with him, so that we are reconciled through him to God, and able to spend eternity with him. So this Christmas, think about it. You may not realize just what one small act, what a difference it can make in someone else's life, and then what their lives can make, what the difference their lives can make in the lives of so many. So don't ever dismiss any little act as being small or insignificant. Remember that everything is part of God's plan. Everything matters. So this Christmas, today, this Thursday, December the 3rd, whether it's just saying hello to somebody, giving somebody a call because they've been on your heart, whatever it may be, don't think of it as something that's insignificant and you could probably just not do it or wait till tomorrow. Do it today, because you never know what kind of effect it's going to have. Look at Bethlehem and make that be a reminder to you. Well, that's just kind of where I've been thinking today. That's where my heart is. And so I wanted to share that with you as my Thursday's thought. And I would be interested to know what your Thursday's thoughts are. Always, you can leave me a comment here on Facebook, or you can go over to YouTube, on my YouTube channel there. If that's where you're watching this, leave me a comment down in the comment section. And if you're watching this after I have put it on YouTube, then like it so that I'll know, and even subscribe so you don't miss any of the other ones that I put on there. But at any rate, my YouTube channel, by the way, is Broken in Bama, capital BRO, capital KEN, in Bama. But anyway, those are my Thursday's thoughts. I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend that we're about to head into. I plan to get in the woods a little bit and spend some time hunting if the weather will cooperate. The best weather was earlier this week, and I didn't get a chance to get in the woods then, but you go when you can. But have a great weekend. Hope your team wins if they're playing this weekend. So Have a great weekend. And if you don't have anywhere to go to church on Sunday, come be with us at Westside Baptist Church at 10 o'clock. And if you're not comfortable being out and about, or if you're not in the Elba area, then join us online on the Westside Baptist Facebook page at 10 o'clock for live stream on Sunday morning. We'd love to have you be a part of that. God bless you. Have a great weekend. And as always, I'll see you next Thursday when again we join for Thursday's Thoughts.